How do you prepare as a pitcher when you are just coming into the game and you haven't warmed up at all, or just coming in without knowing it? Like, how do you warm up? How do you warm up on short notice? That's what we're covering today in today's Bullpen Bulletin, because I know it's happened to every single pitcher. It used to happen to me all the time. And there's a different method of warming up when you have very little notice, where you're jumping into the game automatically without barely any warm up. That's what we're covering today. Hey team, welcome to another Bullpen Bulletin with Coach Hart and Building Better Baseball. This is the best place for baseball education, and we're going to get into the 2 tips that I have for a short notice pitching warm-up. Like, how do you warm up on short notice when you just jump into the game? Maybe you're playing in the field and you just like, hey coach, or your coach says, hey, so-and-so, you're coming in to pitch, and you're like, wait, what? I haven't warmed up. I know that's happened to me all the time, so there's a different style of warm-up that we need to do. So the first tip I have for this little situation of coming in with short notice is you almost want to just always be warm, right? And I know that sounds kind of obvious, and it's kind of hard because you can't always just throw the ball, but there are ways that you can keep yourself warm in the field if you kind of have like a hunch that you're maybe going in, right? One thing that I used to do in the field, right, is I used to do just like little arm swings like this, right? I like almost in between every batter, right? Just keep my arm loose, just kind of swing it around a little bit. If you're sitting out at third base and you haven't gotten a ball in 3 innings and you haven't thrown in 3 innings, you might get a little cold or a little stiff, right? So I used to just, especially if I haven't had a lot of action in the field, I was, just kind of moving my arm a little bit, always just kind of keeping it loose, keeping the shoulder loose, going like this. Another thing that you could do is just use your glove, like in between hitters or even in between batters. You would just kind of just go like this. When you use your glove, it adds a little weight to it. And just the weight, it like keeps the blood flow going. That's the whole purpose, right? You want to keep the blood flow going into your arm, whereas if you're just sitting out there like this and you haven't got any action in 3 innings, there's not really a lot of blood flow. It's not activating all of your throwing muscles and everything, and you might get a little stiff, right? So just use your glove, kind of just shake it around a little bit. Maybe if another pitcher's coming in to warm up in between, like in the middle of an inning, you just kind of go like this and just kind of add some weight to all of your calisthenics and everything, but just try to like almost always keep loose and be conscious of it. Like, think to yourself, am I getting stiff? Like, if I throw the ball, do I feel like I need to warm up even more like I was in pregame? And if that's the case, maybe you could just do like some calisthenics, or if you have a resistance band in between innings, like when you're hitting or when your team is hitting and you're not physically hitting, you could do your exercises. Just use the resistance band that's attached to the fence. Use it to move around and blah, blah, blah. So the first tip I have is just that you should almost always be loose, always be warmed up. Because in the instance that you get called upon, if you're at third base and you're just chilling there and your coach comes in and says, hey, so-and-so, you're coming in to pitch right now. And you're like, wait, what? You already have the feeling of being loose, like, because you've been doing it the entire game, right? Your arm is already loose, like the blood is already flowing, so you don't need to warm up as much as you would if you were just sitting there with no action. Maybe you're in right field and you haven't gotten any action all game and it's the 6th inning and then your coach calls you in to pitch. If you have been kind of moving your arm around, keeping it loose and everything like that, even that still keeps it loose even if you're not throwing the ball. You don't have to be physically throwing the ball to keep yourself warm. And like I said, there are different things you can do by just moving your arm around, doing arm circles, doing things like that, stretching, doing your glove, going like this in between innings. When you're hitting, make sure you do the resistance band and everything. So just keep your arm moving the entire game so you just feel loose and you don't just get stiff, right? So the first one, just always be loose, all right? Always be loose so that you're prepared for any situation that may come. And the second and last tip I have is when the situation arises, right? So you've been doing all your warm-ups and you've been staying loose and blah, 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 and you have no idea that you're pitching, and the coach comes out in the middle of the inning and points to you and say, hey, you're going into pitch, right? So you come in, you have to break everything down in your mind to the only what is essential. What is essential, all right? The essential thing in pitching is throwing strikes. right? It's not about throwing hard. It's not about throwing curveballs or off speed or whatever. It's about throwing strikes and throwing specific strikes, throwing low outside, low inside, low part of the plate, right? So that is what you want to do. This is different when you actually warm up and you have time to warm up, because you are probably hitting all parts of the zone with your fastball, and then you do off speed, and then you do all of these things, right? You have more time. But in the moment, when you come in and you have 7 pitches to warm up, you need to use those 7 pitches effectively, right? So you come in, first pitch, low outside fastball. Didn't make it? Okay, what happened, right? Like, think to yourself about what happened. Why was that not a strike? Okay, this part of my mechanics, my front side flew out. I need to keep it closed, glove to my chest. Next pitch, second pitch, glove to your chest, boom, strike, right? And like I said, keep it to the essentials, right? Maybe in 7 pitches, you throw 6 fastballs and then maybe 1 changeup, right? I would hope that your coach wouldn't bring you in at the beginning of an inning, right? Maybe they have 2 outs and they just got a couple men on and you just need to get 1 out, right? You may not throw like a changeup or one of your pitches that you may not feel confident in. It's most likely going to be fastballs, right? So focus on your fastballs. Maybe 5 out of 7 pitches are fastballs and then the last 2 are 2 changeups, right? Or something like that. Break everything down to what's most essential. What's most essential is throwing strikes, and what pitch do you throw the most strikes with, right? It's most likely your fastball, right? So throw outside fastball, throw inside fastball, that's 2 pitches. Throw a low fastball, that's 3 pitches, right? Throw another outside fastball, thinking about your mechanics and everything, right? Really going in depth with your mechanics when you're warming up, because you only have like 7 pitches, right? So after 5 pitches, maybe you do your changeup, throw a changeup outside. Okay, that kind of missed. What happened? Oh, it was my grip. I kind of like let it fly a little bit, so let me change that. 7th pitch, changeup, strike. Now I'm ready to go. Right? So this is kind of piling on to like keeping warm the entire game from tip number 1. And then when you come in, what is essential? I don't need to throw 3 curveballs because that wastes 3 pitches. I only have 4 left, right? I don't need to throw some high pitches or try to throw as hard as I can, right? And you also have to think that when you are warming up, the point of warming up as a pitcher is to throw your pitches, right? I understand why a lot of people think that you're trying to warm up your arm in order to throw harder, but when you get out, and sorry, let me rewind. When you are warming up and you have time, yes, you are trying to warm up your arm and trying to focus on that part, right? And then you can add in the location and everything like that with your mechanics. When you don't have that time, when you come in and you have 7 pitches to warm up and you haven't pitched at all the entire day, you have to focus on your location. You have to focus on your location. Don't worry about trying to ramp up your velocity and everything, because you are still going to be warming up your arm when the batter steps into the plate. And so that will come. That's inevitable, right? Is warming up your arm. When you have those 7 pitches, where you have those short number of pitches just to warm up, when the coach takes the player out and he puts you in, you have about 5 to 7 pitches. Focus on your location, focus on your fastball. What is essential? What is essential to getting the batter out in this next out? To end this video, or just a little recap, the first one, just kind of always stay loose, right? Always stay loose, move your arm around, use your glove, add some weight in between innings. When you're hitting, or when your team is hitting, do your resistance band, keep your arm loose, right? When the coach comes in, pulls you in, tip number 2, what is essential? Break it down to the essentials, and that's throwing strikes, and that's accuracy, and your arm will inevitably warm up, right? You don't have to worry about trying to ramp up your velocity, because normally when we try to throw hard, we are inaccurate, right? Focus on your accuracy, what's essential, fastball, 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 maybe add in a little changeup, and just think to yourself, I only have to get an out, or I only have to get 2 outs, right? And think to yourself about the situation and everything like that. I used to do this all the time. Like I said, when I was playing, I used to keep my arm loose, and when I came in with short notice and I didn't know I was coming in, what is essential? I used to tell myself, what is essential? Essential is throwing strikes. What pitch do I throw the most strikes with? And that is my fastball. All right, I would throw 4-seam outside, 2-seam inside, throw it low, maybe add in a change up there. Okay, I'm ready to go. And that's what I focused on. So hopefully this was valuable to you. Hopefully this helped. And I know this situation comes in a lot of, kids coming in and they had no idea they were pitching. What is essential? And keep your arm loose the whole day. All right. So before we go, look down in the description. I have a whole bunch of free guides down there. I made them for you for free to help you out in your baseball journey. So I have a 2-hour practice plan, a baseball equipment sizing guide, how to prepare for tryouts. Just look at them down there. I made them for you for free. So feel free to grab what you like. All right. So this is Coach Hart. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Building Better Baseball. This is the best place for baseball education. And I'll see you in another video real soon.